Marcus Rashford had the whole world at his feet at one point. His football career was the stuff of dreams, but now he's considered surplus to requirements at Manchester United and officially up for sale. It's a move that would have been unthinkable 2 years ago for an academy graduate and Manchester boy firing on all cylinders, scoring 30 goals in a season. How has he gone from wonderkid to unwanted with his England career in the gutter? Is it actually all his fault? Is it over for Rashford, or is there a comeback on the horizon? First, let's look at his insane rise to stardom. Marcus Rashford had undeniable talents that made him shine in United's youth system, but it was an injury that kick-started his rise to stardom. It all started on 25th February 2016. Manchester United were to play the second leg of their UEFA Europa League round of 32 tie against Midtjylland, having lost the first leg 2-1 against the Danish club the week before. This was a must-win match for Manchester United, and you'd expect them to turn the tie around, but the club was rocked with an injury crisis. 13 senior players were out-injured, and the already difficult clash became even harder. Manchester United's woes were compounded when Anthony Martial also got injured in the warm-up. There was no other option. United's coach Van Gaal turned to the 19-year-old Marcus Rashford. In an unbelievable turn of events, Rashford scored 2 goals in the 63rd and 75th minutes of his debut, helping the Red Devils to a 5-1 win in front of their fans. The goal made him the youngest ever scorer for Man United in European competitions, a record previously held by the legend himself, George Best. Rashford's heroics in the Europa League and the long list of United injuries, of course, ensured he kept his place when United hosted their long-term rivals Arsenal 3 days later in the Premier League. The dream start to his career continued as he also scored 2 goals again. Van Gaal was quick to protect the youngster, but he kept faith in him, and Rashford repaid the faith once again when he scored the only goal that helped them overcome Manchester City in an away match for the first time since 2012. He also became the youngest to score in the tie, overtaking club legend Wayne Rooney. Rashford didn't stop there. He continued turning up with important goal contributions, including a superb curler against West Ham and a lone goal against Aston Villa. He got his first taste of silverware that season when United beat Crystal Palace in the FA Cup final. The end of the season saw him go home with the Jimmy Murphy Young Player of the Year award, despite joining the senior team in February. He also racked up 8 goals and earned himself a $20,000 per week contract. In the 2016-2017 season, Rashford became a full member of the senior squad under Jose Mourinho and got the number 19 jersey. His playing time was limited due to the arrival of Zlatan Ibrahimovic, but he got goals in August and September. In November 2016, Rashford was named runner-up for the Golden Boy Award, an award for European players under the age of 21. The next year saw him clinch his 3rd and 4th trophies in the EFL Cup and the Europa League respectively, as well as coming 3rd in the Golden Boy Award. He continued to produce goals in the few appearances he got and earned himself the number 10 jersey at the start of the 2018-2019 season after Ibrahimovic left. Under interim manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, Rashford established himself as a forward to reckon with. Rashford was in red-hot form in the early part of 2019. He scored in 4 successive games and scooped awards like United's Player of the Month and Goal of the Month for January, as well as the Premier League Player of the Month. He signed a new deal at the end of the 2019 season and had a terrific streak that saw him produce 16 goals in 20 matches. Marcus Rashford endured a dip in form in the 2021-2022 season, but was back to his best in the following season. In 2022-2023, Rashford got an impressive 30 goals during the season, the first person to do so since Robin van Persie in the 2012-2013 season. He also scored his 100th goal for the club and was voted the Sir Matt Busby Player of the Year and the Players' Player of the Year. Now, let's talk about where it all began to go wrong. While it was unthinkable some seasons ago that Rashford's form could hit a rock this hard, the writing has been on the wall for a while, and it might not be a huge shock. He has been a shadow of his former self for over 18 months now, And it all started in the 2020 Euros. The Euro 2020 final penalty miss put a significant dent in Rashford's career. Of course, bigger stars and better players have missed penalties, and it shouldn't be the end of the world for anyone to miss a penalty. However, the miss undeniably rocked Rashford's confidence, especially because he was subjected to racial abuse from England fans. It was a dark period for him and the others whose penalties were not converted as fans poured insults on them online. He missed the next set of squad announcements by England, some through injuries and illness. Since his exploits at the 2020 Euros, Rashford has only been called up twice. One for World Cup qualifying matches in November 2021 and another for the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar, where he scored 3 goals appearing as a substitute. He has, however, missed all other call-ups. The reason is poor club form. Following the 2020 Euros, it was reported that Rashford had been playing with a variety of injuries for 2 years. After club doctors and specialists examined him, they opted for surgery that kept him out until October 2021. He scored some odd goals here and there, but this was not the Rashford we had grown used to. However, in the 2022-2023 season, Rashford was reborn under manager Erik ten Hag, who deployed him as both a centre-forward and a left winger. This was the season he turned up with 30 goals across all competitions. His form got him a shiny new $325,000 per week contract until 2028 at the start of the 2023 season, but things started going downhill from there. Rashford simply has not been the same player since that dazzling season. Not only is not in form, he seems to have lost focus mentally. First, he got the second red card of his career in a Champions League game against FC Copenhagen. He missed an FA Cup game in January 2024 after calling in sick, prompting an internal disciplinary process. Goal contributions suddenly dried up as he had to make do with occasional brief cameos. There were even more disciplinary issues. When United lost to their City rivals in November, Rashford organised a birthday party after the match, and coach Erik ten Hag had to drop him as a result. It was a similar story when Ruben Amorim took over. He started the new reign well, scoring in Amorim's first match, a 1-1 draw with Ipswich Town, but since then, Rashford has been completely left out of the squad due to his performances and conduct in training. There are also issues with attending concerts at the wrong times, like some of his trips to Belfast, New York, and the NFL. Rashford is yet to make it back even to the bench on match days, and communication between both parties seem to have broken down. It looks like there's no way back for the 27-year-old. However, has it been his fault entirely? Some outside factors beyond Rashford's control have contributed to how things turn out. There's simply no way you can look at Marcus Rashford and overlook the added pressure on him as a local Manchester lad. He has had to remain on his toes, delivering for the club that he even had to play through injuries at some point. The managerial instability at United has also added to it. Since the departure of Sir Alex Ferguson, the managers have not been great, and it's hard to thrive in a struggling team. The environment has not been helpful, which is why other big names like Sanchez, Lukaku, Falcao, Di Maria, and Sancho also had it tough. It's like the club culture doesn't allow players to play at their best, effectively making the club a graveyard for talent. The declining standards at United also mean no senior players or dressing room role models to look up to. Also, with the club looking to free money for a rebuild, players like Rashford on big contracts might have to be sacrificed. When you consider age, it becomes even worse. Rashford is 27, and the club will generally favour investing in younger guys like Garnacho. Amorim's change of culture is another factor that has left Rashford with no obvious place to fit in. United fans are left wondering whether Rashford is being marginalised by the club, but there's no doubt he has contributed to this downfall. But how? Unfortunately, Rashford has not transitioned to a senior player, a leader, or a role model, bringing on the young ones. He has not led by example with his on-pitch and off-pitch attitude. He has also fallen short of developing other facets of this game. Rashford prefers to focus on dribbles with no end product, rather than pay more attention to the fundamentals like Salah, Saka, or Diaz. While he's amazing with the ball at his feet, his off-the-ball work leaves little to be desired. As highlighted by Ralph Rangnick, Rashford doesn't contribute enough to defensive work, with his pressing stats being in the bottom 25% for pressures. This may have been overlooked for someone who's banging in the goals up front, but not Rashford, whose goals have dried up of late. Some have also pointed to Rashford's mental fragility. He seems like someone who is way too concerned about external comments, and many fans think his form is dependent on how good his love life is, and whether he has a new girlfriend at the time. This is ironic, considering how he loves to advocate for mental focus through his goal celebrations. Do you think a Rashford redemption is on the cards? Will he find his form again? Or does he have to switch teams to get his magic back? Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more awesome videos.